Hello students, welcome to a lesson through the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha teacher, and in this lockdown period, since we are not able to go to school children, we will be doing many lessons here online through the virtual class. So come on, let's proceed to our lesson for today. So children, the lesson for today is the lesson that we started last time in standard 7th English. And what was the name of the lesson? Remember, we looked at the picture of all these animals and we discussed that this lesson is going to be about animals. So yes, the name of the lesson was Learning Yoga from Animals. And this is part 2 of that lesson today. So we will quickly revise what we did last time, children. So you remember I told you that every year we celebrate 21st of June as International Yoga Day. And when we talk about yoga, we are talking about all these asanas, or we call them as postures or even poses. Okay. We looked at why this particular day is celebrated as International Yoga Day, the 21st of June, just to spread awareness about how we can use this particular form for your betterment, for your improvement. Okay, so this is what we learned in the lesson last time. We also looked at some postures, and we learned that yoga helps us to balance our mind, body and our soul. Okay, when you talk about yourself, when I talk about myself as an individual, my body has got various parts externally, but I also have a mind and I also have a soul. Okay, my feelings. So when you do yoga regularly, when you practice yoga, what happens is you try to create a kind of balance between your mind, between your body and your soul. Okay, and then we learned that there are various poses in yoga which are derived from animal names, or it is derived from the way the animals move, or from the way they make poses with their body, etc. So see here, we talked about these various poses. The first one was the Baddha-Konasana. That is the butterfly pose. So you join your the feet of you join the underside of your feet, and then you act as a butterfly is flying with your legs. So you do the wing movement with your leg. So that becomes a butterfly pose. Then we talked about the dog pose, or we call it as the Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay. Then we talked about the pose which is called as the camel pose, that is the Ustarasana, and then the cat pose or the Marjaryasana. Then we talked about the swan pose, that is the Hamsasana, and finally the cobra pose, that is the Bhujangasana. Alright, and we also looked in detail about 3 asanas. Now we have almost 5 asanas in this lesson to understand about, but we looked in detail about 3 asanas last time. So we talked about the Bhujangasana, which resembles the hood of a snake. That is, when the snake raises its hood, then it is called as Bhujangasana, and Bhujang stands for cobra. And then we talked about the Simhasana. So Simha means the lion. So just like the lion roars in the Simhasana, you also produce a kind of a roar sound, and you position your body like the lion which is ready to roar. And finally we looked at the next asana, also the Marjaryasana. That is how the movement of a cat is replicated. Okay, so this was what we did last time, children. Now let us move on and let us learn the remaining part of the lesson that we have to do now. Plus we will also look at certain exercises which are there in your textbook. Okay, so the next asana that we are going to look at is the Garudasana, or it is also called as the eagle pose. So the eagle yoga pose is called as the Garud Asana. Now you can see the position which this model in this image has taken. So she's standing on one leg. Alright, she's crossed her feet and also she's crossed her arms. Okay, and this pose is called as the Garudasana. And when you look at the image only, you must be realizing that she is balancing herself on one foot. Okay, so this particular asana, it improves your body's ability to balance itself. It makes your mind, your brain stronger. Okay. Now let us see why it is called Garudasana. It is called Garudasana because it is named after the bird eagle or the Garud. Okay, so let's move on and see how Garudasana is done. See how this man is doing Garudasana. And remember, I have told you earlier also in the previous lesson that this is not a lesson on yoga. This is a lesson about English. Okay, so you should not try to do yoga by looking at this lesson. We are just discussing about the various words, the vocabulary that is associated with this kind of a lesson. Okay, so we are going to talk about the various poses. So you have learned so many words related to yoga. That is what we want to do in our English lessons. We want to learn more English about a particular subject or a particular topic. Okay, so this is not a lesson on yoga. This is a lesson on English. See, what are the health benefits of Garudasana? So whenever we do an asana or whenever we do a pose, there are so many health benefits. And I told you that last time when we talked about the various yoga asanas and their benefits, I told you that there are certain benefits which are common. That is improving digestion, improving concentration. So there are certain benefits which are common to all yoga poses. So in the same way, this strengthens your ankles, it strengthens your shoulders, it improves digestion, it improves body balance, it prevents asthma, it is helpful for the kidneys, and it improves concentration. Okay, so most of these benefits you will derive when you do any pose in yoga. Alright, but remember, we also discussed that when you are doing yoga, there are certain precautions also that you should take. You should have a teacher who will teach you yoga. You should have a yoga instructor. You should always try to do yoga on a mat. Okay, and you should do yoga in the morning before your breakfast or in the evening before your dinner. So we discussed all these things last time, children. So let us look at the next asana, and that is the Ustrasana, or it is also called as the camel pose. Okay, the Ustrasana or the camel pose. See how the Ustrasana is done? This is how the Ustrasana is done. Now in your book you will see there is a detailed explanation about how Ustrasana is done. Alright, but then instead of reading from there, I am showing you the video because we have this benefit in this video lessons that I can show you how it is done. So first you're supposed to kneel on the mat. You're supposed to place your hands on your hips like this. Okay, and then you're supposed your knees should be in line with your shoulders. And then as you inhale, you should go towards your back. So this is how the Ustrasana or the camel pose is done. Alright, let us look at some health benefits of the Ustrasana. So it helps to prevent constipation. Sometimes we have a problem that we are not able to clear our stomachs in the morning. So if you do Ustrasana, you can see how the stomach is bent so much. So it helps to prevent constipation. It improves cardiovascular system, that is, it improves the health of your heart and the health of your veins and the health of your arteries. Okay, it helps to stimulate the endocrine system. Endocrine system means the various glands in your body, thyroid and all the other glands which are there in your body. It helps to stimulate them. It improves the body posture, that is the position in which you sit or the position in which you walk. So it improves the posture of your body. It increases the focus. Okay, it helps you to concentrate on things. It increases your focus. Most important, it helps you to strengthen the spine. Okay, your spine becomes strong, your backbone, and the spine inside your backbone, it becomes strong. It also strengthens your shoulders and arms. Okay, because you can see how much you have to bend backwards in order to touch your feet. And also it helps to reduce the stress in your life. If you're having some kind of tension, right now also we have so many tensions, isn't it? We are worried about when our school will reopen. We are so much missing our school. We want to go to school. We want to spend time with our friends. We want to play on the playground. We want to ask our teacher so many things. Okay, but we are not able to do that now. So that is a stress that we have. So if you do Ustrasana, all this kind of stress in your life will be relieved. Okay, so these are the health benefits of Ustrasana. So these were about the various asanas that is there in this lesson for us. So we did 5 asanas in detail, children. We looked at what is the Bhujangasana, or it is also called as the Cobra pose. Okay, then we talked about the Simhasana or the lion pose, and then we talked about the Marjaryasana or the cat pose. Finally, we talked about Garudasana today, that is the eagle pose, and Uttarasana or the camel pose today. So these were the various poses of yoga that we saw, and we also saw various words related to these yoga poses. Okay, so now we will move on and we will try and do some exercises which are part of your lesson. So let us talk about the first exercise in your English workshop part. Complete the following diagrams. So you have 3 diagrams here which you're supposed to complete. You are supposed to write what are the benefits of yoga. Now children, I have explained the lesson to you using pictures. Okay, now there are certain things that we can do in this video format. There are certain things which we unfortunately cannot do here. For example, I cannot read the entire lesson for you. Okay children, if I read the lesson, almost half of the time will go in reading, and then you will not be interested also, you will get bored. So this is an assignment for you now. You have understood. I have almost explained all the big words. I have read out the big words for you, the difficult ones. So what you will do is, when you reach this stage of the video, pause the video and go back and read the lesson thoroughly. Okay, so you will open your English textbook and you will come to page number 37. And you will read this lesson number 2.5, that is learn yoga from animals, thoroughly once, and then you will come and try to answer these particular questions. Now the answers also, I will give you just one sample answer. The remaining answers you're supposed to search out for yourself. So it is not going to be like the ordinary class situation where after the entire lesson I give you homework. Here, as we go along the video, I will keep on giving you small assignments. Okay, so now I give you time to read the lesson. So pause this video, read the lesson, and then come back and join me to find out the answers. So complete the following diagrams. What are the benefits of yoga? The first benefit, let me share it with you. The others, I expect you to search in the textbook and write the answers. The first benefit of yoga, from what I understood after reading the lesson, is it improves concentration and focus. Okay, so concentrating on something, when sometimes you try to read something, sometimes you try to solve a question in mathematics and you feel that your mind is not able to focus on that sum. You're thinking about something else. You're not able to concentrate. So if you do yoga regularly, you will be able to concentrate on things and also focus on things. All right. So the remaining 3 is your assignment for today. Next, what are the precautions in yoga practice? So I think when I was telling you a little bit about the asanas in today's lesson also, I told you about the precautions which you are supposed to take when you are practicing yoga. So we discussed that if you are a beginner, that is if you just started practicing yoga, what should you do? You should always go to a yoga teacher or a yoga instructor. You should not try to do yoga on your own. That is why I keep repeating that this video is not a video about doing yoga. Okay? So you should always try to go to a yoga teacher, because there the teacher will teach you how you're supposed to breathe in, how you're supposed to breathe out, when you're supposed to breathe in, when you're supposed to breathe out, etc. So this cannot happen without a teacher, isn't it? So what 2 other precautions are you supposed to take? One I gave you. The remaining 2 you will try and figure it out yourself. Alright, let's come to part C of this exercise. What is yoga? So what is yoga? So it is a culture of physical dash and spiritual discipline. So yoga is a culture of physical discipline, spiritual discipline. There is something else missing here. Find out, read from the textbook and find out the answer. Composite practice involving what? And it is an integrated system of what? All these answers are waiting in the textbook. You have to just read and you have to note it down here. Alright children, so this is the first part of your exercises. Now, in every lesson, we have certain exercises based on vocabulary and certain exercises based on grammar, which is part of the language study. Okay, so that will be done later. Before that, there are some more small exercises here. Let us look at them. So this is the first one. List the names of body parts used in the passage. So this lesson is about physical exercise. Okay, yoga is a kind of physical and mental exercise, we know. So they have asked you to list the names of the body parts used in the passage. So let me help you with certain answers and the remaining as usual. What will you do? You will try to figure out the answers after reading the lesson. So I'm sure that you have read the lesson now. So you will be able to come up with answers quickly. So the first body part which I feel is the spine. So can you see? You can see the backbone. We call it as the vertebral column. And there is a spine, there is a thin hair-like structure running inside this vertebral column. Okay, so where did you see this particular body part mentioned? You saw it when we talked about the Bhujangasana. Alright, so we saw that when we do the Bhujangasana, your spine becomes strong. The Bhujangasana strengthens your back and your spine. So here you can see both the parts of your body. You can see the back as well as you can see the spinal column or the vertebral column. Okay, let us look at the next body part. They have talked about the shoulder. Alright, chest and shoulder. This is also part of Bhujangasana. So whenever you do your Bhujangasana, it benefits the chest and the shoulders, it is mentioned, isn't it? Let us look at the next body part. So what are these? These are the palms of your hand. So this is also mentioned. Like how are you supposed to do the asana? You're supposed to place your palms on the side, just below your shoulders. So these are the names of some body parts used in this particular passage. What you will do is, you will list out at least 10 or more body parts. So all these body parts which you can see here now, I have picked up from just one asana. That is a Bhujangasana that we talked about. So you have a lot of scope now. There is a Simhasana to look at, and there is the Marjaryasana to look at, there is the Garudasana to look at. Okay, and then find out the names of more body parts like this. Okay, let us now move on to the next question that we have for today. And what is that? They have asked us to list the adverbs or the adverbial phrases which are used in the lesson. Here also I will give you a few examples and then you are supposed to search. So before we go to adverbs and adverbial phrases, Let us try and find out what is the meaning of adverb. So what is an adverb, children? An adverb is something which adds to the verb. That is the way I say it. Okay? An adjective adds to the noun. Adverbs add to the verbs. And what is a phrase? A phrase is when 2 or 3 words are written together. So what is an adverbial phrase? When 2 or 3 words which are written together act as an adverb, it is called as an adverbial phrase. We have studied this earlier also, so I'm sure you have a fair idea of what is adverb and what is adverbial phrase. Here now, as part of this exercise, you're supposed to find out adverbs and adverbial phrases from your passage. So let us first try to find out a few adverbs from the passage. So you have breathe in deeply, where breathe is the verb and deeply is the adverb. Okay, so the adverb adds to the verb, I told you, isn't it? So the verb is what? Breathe. The adverb is deeply. Means how are you breathing? What is the manner in which you are breathing? You are breathing in deeply. So see, deeply is adding to the verb breathe. It is giving more meaning to the verb breathe. Alright. Next example, slowly raise your hand. So raising your hand is the verb. Raising means you're lifting up your hand. How are you doing it? Are you doing it quickly? Are you doing it in a relaxed manner? Here you're doing it slowly. So this is the adverb. Alright. And now let us look at some adverbial phrases. Now these are not adverbial phrases from the lesson. Okay, you have to search for adverbial phrases from the lesson. This I am giving you some general examples. I went into town to visit my friend. Okay, so why did you go into town? To visit your friend. So this visit my friend is the adverbial phrase. One more example. In total silence. How? In total silence. So this total silence or in total silence is an adverbial phrase. Okay, so this was the next exercise that we have for you. Let us move on and let us look at another interesting exercise here, and that is conjunctions. So like I told you, adverb means adding to the verb. In the similar manner, conjunction means connecting junction. That is the way I describe it for easy understanding. Conjunction means connecting junction. So what does it connect? See here, 2 and 2 make 4. So you have 2 here, plus if you add 2 to it, it makes 4. So can you say 2 make 4? That will be wrong. So you say 2 and 2 make 4. So what have you done? You have joined 2 words, isn't it? 2 and 2. So this and is a conjunction. Next one. The man is poor but honest. So you're trying to say something about this person. You're saying the man is poor but he is honest. So here but is the conjunction which is joining honest with the phrase the man is poor. Alright. Next, a conjunction is a word which joins together sentences or sometimes words. So this is the meaning of a conjunction. A conjunction is a word. So here which are the 2 conjunctions that you can see? You can see and you can see but. Alright, there are many other conjunctions also. We will look at them in detail when we come to that point of the lesson. So for now it is important for you to understand that a conjunction is a word which joins together sentences and sometimes words. Now see, here also there is a conjunction and. Okay, see, one more meaning you can say conjunction is a word that joins words or word groups together. And I told you we will look at the meaning, different examples of conjunctions. So and is a conjunction, but is a conjunction, or, nor, although, yet, so, either, also. All these are various examples of conjunctions. Look at the examples here now. Sentences. We ate pizza and drank pop for dinner. So we ate pizza and then we drank pop, means something like Pepsi, for dinner. Okay, so I hope the idea of conjunction is clear to you. Let us look at some examples now. So it is a word. Remember, what is conjunction? It is a word that joins either words or it joins groups of words together. Okay, so hope you have understood this. Let's move on and let us look at the example or exercise for conjunction from our textbook. So look at the sentence. Sahil and Rohan go to school together. So Sahil is one word, Rohan is one word. They are joined together using the conjunction and. So here and is joining the two words Sahil and Rohan. Remember, conjunctions can join two words, it can join two phrases, it can also join two sentences. In this case, it is joining Sahil with Rohan. That is, it is joining two words. Okay, and our conjunction is and. Next example. Sahil is drawing a picture and Rohan is playing football. See, in this case, and is not joining just two words, but it is joining two phrases. What are the two phrases? Sahil is drawing a picture, Rahul is playing football. These two phrases have been joined together using the conjunction and. Okay, move on. Let us look at some more examples of conjunctions here from your textbook. Do you like cricket or football? So the conjunction is given to you in a different color. Alright, then you have your parents will be happy if you study well. So in the first case, we are joining a phrase to a word. In the second case, we are joining two phrases. Your parents will be happy is one phrase. You study well is the second phrase. This example, she has not come to school because she is ill. Here again we are joining two phrases, or you can say you're joining one sentence with a phrase, or two sentences you're joining together. She has not come to school is one sentence, she is ill is the second sentence, and because is the conjunction. Okay, this is the exercise in your textbook which I want you to do. Looking at all that I have taught you now, I'm sure you'll be able to do it very well. So you're supposed to find out which are the conjunctions here and underline them in your textbook. Okay, so children, this was the exercise about conjunction. We have just one more small interesting point to do here, and that is interjections. So what are interjections? So have you sometimes been very happy? Have you sometimes been very sad? Have you got very scared at times? So when such things happen, there are certain words which come out of our mouths. All these words are called interjections. Look here. Hurrah, I've passed the exam. So this boy is very happy because he has passed the exam. So suddenly he said, hurrah or hooray. So this is an example of an interjection. Okay. One more example. Wow, that's really great news. So what is the interjection here? Wow. What is it? Does wow have any meaning of its own? Nothing. It is just an expression which comes out of your mouth when you have a strong emotion. So what is the meaning of interjection? Interjections are words used to express some sudden feeling or emotion. Suddenly you get a news that you have passed in your exam and you're very happy. Someone gives you a good news and you say wow. Okay, so these are all examples of interjections. Let us look at some more examples and let's try to see when these words come out of your mouth. When will you say yikes? when you get scared of something, okay? When you see something, like for example, you're walking on the road and suddenly a snake comes in front of you. You're scared. So you say this, yikes. All right? Or you feel dirty about something. You can use this particular interjection. Oh, when do you say oh? When someone gives you a bad news which you didn't want to hear. So you say, oh, is that so? Remember, interjections are not planned, okay? It is something which comes out of your mouth. So you do not plan and you say, okay, when someone gives me a bad news, I will say, oh. When I see something scary, I will say, yikes. It doesn't happen like that. It is something which happens spontaneously. Look at this. Aha. When do you say aha? When you're happy, or when you want the remote from your brother and your brother is not giving you the remote and suddenly the electricity goes off. You're happy that, okay, now you also don't watch TV and I also won't watch. So you say, aha, you're happy. Okay? Ouch. And then you're happy because the light has gone and then your brother gives you a punch in your eye. And you're hurt and you say, ouch. Okay? See this? Hey means when you're surprised. Then you have, oh no, when you're very disappointed. Very disappointed about something. You were expecting to go to school in the month of November, but suddenly the government tells you, no, you can't. So you're very disappointed. Oh no. Okay? Then you have yup, means when you're agreeing to do something with someone. Your friend says, as soon as school reopens, we will go and eat vada pav. And you say, yup. Alright? Then you have oh, when you're again sad. And finally, you have shh, when you want someone to keep quiet. You say shh. Alright? So these are the various interjections. Quickly, let's look at the exercise from your textbook. And then we will wind up this lesson for now. So, hurrah, we have won the game. So when do you say hurrah? When do you say hooray? When you are very happy. See, this boy is so happy. He's dancing and he's saying hooray. So when will you say hooray? When will you say hurrah? When you're very, very happy. Enjoy. Okay? Ouch, that hurt. When will you say ouch, that hurt? When you are in pain. See? This cat is in a lot of pain and he's saying ouch, 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 ouch. Alright, because it is paining. Next, and the last example that we have now, wow, that's a nice picture. When do you say wow? When you approve of something. See this teddy bear saying wow. Alright children, so this was part 2 of the lesson that we did, learn yoga from animals. We talked about the importance of yoga in our life, the precautions that we should do, we should take when we practice yoga, and we also talked about the benefits of yoga. We talked about the various poses in yoga. Okay, we saw how yoga is, there is also a concept of biomimicry as far as yoga is concerned. All right, and then we talked about the various exercises. We did some interesting, you can say, exercises on conjunctions and on interjections. So children, wasn't that a wonderful video? And did you enjoy watching it? So if you want to watch more such videos in future, then please like this video and also subscribe to our channel, the MCGM Portal for Education, and also hit the bell button so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video here. Thank you so much for now. Let's meet again soon.